your day been here so far at ToyXpo?
For me, it's been great, except for this knee thing. I'll explain it to you. It's not anything too serious, I hope. It's just a torn little pellet and then a meniscus thing, but it's not severed. So that's the good news. And I have to work on next week. So, but I have to wear this brace, so I'm not totally, gimpy.
You're rocking the brace.
What a cheap shot of sympathy.
Well, what I think is really cool is the fact that we're here at the ToyXpo and there's so many incredible vendors. And of course, Masters of the Universe had some of the best collectibles. I was wondering, did you guys ever collect yourselves?
Ever what?
Do you have any Skeletor action figures?
I think I have one that I stole somewhere, yeah.
What about you?
I do. I have, actually I have my the first She-Ra, but it's kind of messed up because kids played with it. And who knew it was going to be, worth a lot of money. And I have a Swift Wind and a Catra, and I think a Castaspella. But as I say, the hairs are all like this. So you really couldn't consider it a masterpiece. And then I think it was last year or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, somebody, one of the people at the tail gave me a Swift Wind. And then I bought myself that big, huge doll set, where She-Ra has the clothes on one side and Adora has the clothes on the other side. That was so beautiful. The artwork, every bit about that thing was gorgeous. So I got that for my grandkids.
For the voices, well, are you willing to do the voices, or are you able to still do them?
Yeah. I have I asked us to do some of the voices.
Okay.
Well, here's Starman. Oh, I did more, man. I also did Cringer, and Battle Cat, and Man at Arms, and of course, Skeletor.
Let's see, I did Catra. Oh, Catra is here. Meow. Meow, She-Ra. Oh, Skeletor. I did Castaspella, but was very like this, and she almost was like a Catherine Hepburn sort of person. But she was Castaspella, and she was beautiful. That was her. And I think I did some others. Who else did that? Octavia, but I don't remember much. Except she must have been awfully good. And then, of course, I am Adora, He-Man's twin sister and defender of the Crystal Castle. Fabulous secrets were revealed to me the day I held aloft my sword and said, "For the honor of Grayskull, I am She-Ra!"
Getting a little teary-eyed. Wow, that was iconic. So one of my favorite things to ask voice actors, especially some that are so iconic, have you guys ever gone through a drive-through, like a random Burger King, and ordered something in your voices? No?
Not me.
No. Just give me the cheeseburger and I'll get out of there.
Alan does it at TSA a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, at TSA?
TSA, I
So
had
the guys will
yeah.
try to frisk him.
Yeah. He recognized me, so I had to give him an autographed picture, and I got right on through.
If I did the She-Ra voice, it would scare people. So and it would scare. Seriously, I have to do it loud. There's no way you can do it softly. So that would be pretty scary. I think, and it would draw a lot of attention, which would kind of scare me.
I have used Bob Redford's name once. I was at a restaurant, didn't have a reservation. There were 10 people ahead of me, and the hostess said, "Name, please," and I said, "Robert Redford." She said, "Right this way." And she took me to the one best table in the back. I said, "You didn't even look up." She said, "I didn't care. I loved your answer."
He wanted to know how both of you got into voice acting.
Just lucky.
And And the second part of the question was, if they were to do a live action version, who would you like to be cast as your characters?
Me. I mean, they already did it with Frank Langella. Now, I've known Frank for 70 years, you know. But he's not Skeletor. What he does is good, but he's not Skeletor. And I can't do what Frank does. So, push him aside and And how I got into voice, I hounded my agent. I said, I want to audition. And he reluctantly said, oh, okay. And then I got the first job, the second job. And then he sent me up to audition for Filmation. I'd already worked at Hanna-Barbera. I went to see Joe Barbera, and he said, well, this is the voice of a dog. Can you talk like a dog? And I went, okay, you start tomorrow. See? And it was kind of like Filmation. They showed me the cell of, you know, the cell, it's the drawing cell of Skeletor, and immediately I had a picture of a voice in a hollow, bony, so that's why I went up nasal. And I think the first episode or so, he was not comedic, but I always try and insert comedy into the drama. And I inserted this laugh, I don't know where it came from, and then Lou Shiner said, well, we're going to use that a lot, all the time. And I remember one time, maybe halfway through the series, he said, listen, make some insults, just ad-lib some insults, and we'll put them in. I think they were able to use about 2, and the rest were on the floor, they couldn't be used at all.
What about you? How did you get into voice acting?
Well, as Alan, I had done a lot of other cartoons before, but for this particular one, the agent, and I think we had the same agent, didn't we? Yeah. TK called me in, and at that time, we did reel-to-reel, 8-track auditions, and they sent them into the studios. So I did my audition. I haven't seen anything about it yet, except that she was a very powerful character. So I got a call back, and back then, you didn't usually get callbacks. It was just you got the job or you didn't. So then I was called into the studios, and there I met Lou and talked to him about the character, and I thought, oh, this is something different. This is different. And so he interviewed me, and then I think I got called back again. I'm not quite sure. And then I did get the job. But later on, maybe about 3 years ago, I found out that Erica Shiner, Lou's daughter, was the one. Lou had worked with a lot of people before, a lot of other women, and he was going through his list to see who cast for it. And Erica said, you should cast Melendy Britt. That's She-Ra. That's She-Ra, Dad. And so he was going back and forth, and finally he said, yeah, you're right. So that, I owe Erica the job. Frankly, I didn't know Erica, but I just found this out 3 years ago. So we have to thank Erica. Video games. And they're all, you just don't see anybody. You just do your lines and that's it. But back then, we had this whole wonderful round table, as if it were a movie or a television show. We would all read through the scripts, and then we would go in and record. And it was great because, just as Alan said, you could feed off one another. You could play off one another. There was more empathy. There was more sympathy. There was more feeling about everything that you did because there was more cohesive energy. And that's, to me, what made the series actually great. It really, we were a company of people who actually were talking to one another.
And when you were recording this, did you have any idea how impactful it would be on so many lives? I mean, Masters of the Universe is still huge. I mean, it's still in our everyday life. Did you guys have any idea when you were recording it?
Did the job, got paid, and went home. And 30 years later, here we are.
Typical Skeletor, give me my money.
Absolutely. And when you people come to the table and tell us your experiences, the common thing is you voice my childhood. But there are stories that you have to tell us, I'm sure, Melendy too, that are so touching about your young years and the impact that the moral, even at the end of each episode, gave them, and the courage sometimes to go on for the very difficult time in their young lives. Well, that's totally humbling, and I am very grateful for all of you and your second or third time around.
is thank you. We're so grateful. I'm so grateful, and Alan is as well. You come up to us and you tell us that you were the voice of your childhood and that you loved us for that. Well, I have to tell you that we love you for coming back this long ago from that time to tell us how much you loved us. So thank you.
I did for the longest time. We used to have lunch together, and then after the 10th time I begged him to come and do this, he said, if you ever ask me again, I know to talk to you again. So I haven't seen John in a couple of months.
I talk to him maybe once a year. I make sure I call him during the holidays and stuff like that. But no, we don't socialize much anymore. First of all, Los Angeles, where I live, is so huge, and we're all in quote Los Angeles. But my gosh, to get on the freeway to go see anybody is a real trip. You better pack your bag because you never know what's going to happen. You may be on that freeway for 3 days. You don't know.
John won't come and do these. He's shy. That is the total answer. He is shy. I said, why? He said, well, I don't look like He-Man. I said, don't do it. I don't look like Skeletor. And Chris Reeves doesn't look like Superman. You think they don't know that? Well, he's just plain shy. He won't.
Any final questions? Sure.
Where did most of the recordings take place?
Where did most of the recordings take place?
At Filmation in Sherman Oaks, California.
The studio isn't there anymore, as you know, or you may not know, but it's not there anymore. But it was on Sherman Way, and we would all. At that time, I thought that was far away, but not anymore. Not in Los Angeles the way it is now, and that's where we recorded. Lou has his own studio.
Real quick, I was interested in getting voice acting as well, but wanted to know, do you think it's necessary, like all actors go to LA, or something that you do remotely nowadays with technology, or thoughts?
Do you think that someone needs to be in LA in order to be a voice actor, or is it something they can do remotely?
No. They're doing it from all over the country. I'm talking about commercials, voices of commercials, and not cartoons. Cartoons, you either have to be in New York and LA, and I think most of them were in LA, if not all. But commercials, people have their studios set up in Wyoming, Montana, New Jersey, and if you have that kind of a relationship with an agent, they send you a copy, you record it, you send it back to the agent, they send it on to the advertising agency, and if you're booked, sometimes you can do it right from your home studio, as some people do, but if you happen to be near a metropolitan center that has a good recording studio, you may go there. Did you talk to yourself? Well, you've given me a chance to show off a little bit. Because I used to love to do this. Most actors will do one character all the way through, they go back and do the other character all the way through. Well, I had great fun talking to myself. For instance, the Skeletor, Merman, Cringer, and Man-at-Arms. I'm making this up as I go along. Well, let's go. Merman, where are you? Oh, don't ask me to go, will you? Oh, I don't. Cringer doesn't want to do it either. What's the matter with you, cowards?
Well, I don't think that there's a better note to end on than that, unless you want to talk to yourself too, but hey. Any final thoughts?
Just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you too.
Can I put in a plug for the Never-Ending Story? Which I did. Falcor, the Rockbiter, Gamork, and the narrator at the end.
Oh, you
My
can't end
favorite
like
movie.
that. Give us the voices then. Come on, you can't end like that. Come on,
That's his money's worth.
come on.
Oh, let's go and get these bullies!
Wow. All right, well,
A little Rockbiter for the general.
Oh, yeah.
please.